Next up, we are going to talk about Simone Biles. Simone
Mm-mm-mm.
Biles disappointed me with this one.
Unbelievable.
She really did. So we're going to get into this. So Simone Biles has recently issued an apology. So I'm gonna try and catch everybody up on this. There is another former swimmer who goes by the name of Riley Gaines. Riley Gaines is someone who publicly advocates on behalf of transgender athletes not performing in the sport that they transition to. So if you are born a male, she is not in favor of a human who is born a male, transitions to become a woman, and then competes in women's sports, even though biologically they are a male. Riley Gaines has spoken out against it. She's not in favor of it. And during a recent instance in which Riley Gaines made a comment on Twitter in relation to the result of a sporting event in which that happened, Simone Biles went off on her. And then, basically Simone Biles, called her out her name essentially. And then as a result, afterwards, Simone Biles apologized for doing so. So this says Simone Biles issues public apology following comments on trans athletes. Simone Biles has issued a public apology to Riley Gaines. Uh, I've always believed competitive equity and inclusivity are both essential in sport. The current system doesn't adequately balance these important principles, which often leads to frustration and heated exchanges. And it didn't help for me to get personal with Riley, which I apologize for. These are sensitive, complicated issues that I truly don't have the answers or solutions to, but I believe it starts with empathy and respect. I was not advocating for policies that compromise fairness in women's sports. My objection is to be singling out children for public scrutiny in ways that feel personal and harmful. Individual athletes, especially kids, should never be the focus of criticism of a flawed system they have no control over. I believe sports organizations have a responsibility to come up with rules supporting inclusion while maintaining fair competition. We all want a future for sport that is fair, inclusive, and respectful. Biles 28 raised some eyebrows when she reacted to Gaines' comment about the Minnesota State High School League winning a championship. Comments off LOL to be expected when your star player is a boy, said Gaines, who has advocated to keep biological men from competing in women's sports. Biles decided to weigh in. You're truly sick. All of this campaigning because you lost a race. Straight up sore loser. Biles wrote on X on June 6th. You should be uplifting the trans community and perhaps finding a way to make sports inclusive or creating a new avenue where trans feel safe in sports. Maybe a transgender category in all sports. But instead, you bully them. One thing's for sure is no one in sports is safe with you around. So
Damn.
those were the comments that Simone Biles made that she eventually apologized for. It didn't take long for the criticism and backlash to start, with dozens of people expressing their differing opinions on Biles' social media accounts. Following her public apology, Biles received mixed reactions. So we've talked about Simone Biles on the channel before. I believe the last time we talked about her was somewhat in defense. Um, what did you think about this? What do you think about the way that she went after this Gaines woman?
I thought, you know, I thought that um I thought that she would not get involved. I would say that. This kind of surprised me, but it doesn't. When you're dealing with these high end people that are very much up there and rubbing these elbows, attending these gatherings. Yeah, man, they they seem to all be parroting the same talking points. And it seems as though if you're parroting those talking points, you seem to have favor with those people in those groups. So I didn't take her for one of those people. I figured that if you're just some gymnast, they don't have time for that. They normally deal with the streamers. They normally deal with the rappers, the actors. the Tyler Perrys. They deal with those people. But I didn't really take um gymnastics as a area. For her to come out of left field and attack Riley Gaines on a post that wasn't added at her, okay, for her to just search and find this and just pounce on it at an opportune time, she felt to galvanize people behind her and show her alliance.
Yes. Yes.
To me it felt like a socially political play, so she could gain
Yes.
social capital, that, hey, I'm an ally with this group of people over here. All right. um she may claim to be straight herself, but that doesn't take away the rights of those people over there that are doing that over there. So for her to be doing that, I felt as though some people said that it was performative. I 100% believe that it was performative. Performative activism, performative caring. It didn't seem authentic at all. Um, so that's the part about it that felt like, well, a, I don't think I don't know if anybody directly put her up to this. I don't know if anybody said, "Hey, go attack Riley Gaines,"
I don't.
but
I doubt it.
I do believe there was a battery put in her back to be doing stuff like this, to take an opportunity to do something like this. I do believe that. Now, because again, when you win as many, I guess when you win as many uh, gold medals as she did, you rub the elbows that you rub. Um, it's one of those things where it's like, hey, given the opportunity, do your thing. So I wouldn't be surprised, when she decides to have a child or whatever, that child may transition, or who knows, because she's part of that guild now.
Very good.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Very
uh,
good choice of words there. I like that.
so I'll say that's about Riley, for Riley Gaines, and I'll let you go. So, I saw a clip where Riley Gaines was basically, because I'd never heard of this woman until this situation. I may have heard of her, but it never struck a chord. But this situation here, she was telling her story, and then she was just saying that how, multiple platforms. I'm going down the rabbit hole with this, and she was basically just saying that, the guy that she was competing against, she didn't lose against him, she tied, and he was in the women, he was all up in the women's locker room, getting bucket naked in front of the ladies. And some of the ladies felt so uncomfortable that they had to go in the janitor's closet to change. I don't blame those women for doing it. I don't feel like they were being extra at all. I'm uncomfortable when I go to the gym, and that same type of crusty old man, no matter what gym you go to, is sitting there bucket naked so everybody can see him. He's sitting there for 30 minutes straight. It's like, how did you not put your clothes on yet? You were in here naked when I started my workout. So him doing that stuff. I'm sure those ladies felt uncomfortable, and I'm sure he's not the only guy who's done that. Who's transitioned and be living like that. So, amongst other things, and so all in all, I stand with Riley Gaines on here. Um, I'm totally against what Simone Biles was saying. Completely uncalled for, completely unwarranted, completely out of left field, jumping in the whole conversation, and then virtue signaling the whole damn time. And then at the end of that, gave a Chat GPT apology. So from point A to point Z, every other letter in the alphabet, Simone Biles was failing. So whatever, piece of whatever I had for this young lady, and my neutrality towards her has now turned into skepticism. I don't know what she about, but I saw that move right there, and that's the type of moves I don't like. But what are your thoughts, man, on Simone Biles? Coming out here attacking Riley Gaines. All right. And then doubling back and then apologizing after the backlash. What are your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, I was a bit disappointed. Um, I was a bit disappointed in Simone Biles. I agree with you. I found it to be, if you're uncomfortable with the word performative, then I would say that it was contrived.
Yes, yes.
I found it to be very contrived. One thing about Simone Biles is a mainstream sports personality at this
She is.
point.
She is.
Uh, with everything that she has achieved in the Olympics and how decorated she is as an Olympian, how many appearances she makes, and how often you see her in media or she's in magazines and all of this other stuff. She, to me, is a mainstream sports personality.
She's pretty
And
much a household name at this
I
point.
would say so. And as a mainstream sports personality, you are rubbing elbows with and connecting with and starting to make corporate dollars.
Yes, yes.
And when you're making corporate dollars, you will capitulate to corporate behavior. And I've said this before and I'll say it here again. Ever since the summer of 2020, corporations have made a concerted effort to, from a PR standpoint, position themselves from a perception of being on the right side of history. And in our country, what is tantamount to being on the right side of history is being pro LGBTQ. Now, that is not to say that being pro LGBTQ is not good or that it's a negative or that it's inherently bad. However, it is to say that these issues are nuanced and matters of gray. They are not black and white. They are extremely nuanced. But what has happened is, in order to be perceived on the right, in order to be perceived as being on the right side of history, you have to take the extreme pro position without acknowledging any of the nuance. And if there is any individual or entity that dares to try to acknowledge any nuance, you get thrown into the category of being a hater.
Bigot.
Or yes, or in the case of Simone Biles, the word she used was bully. Now, I myself, like you, did a little grave digging on previous statements made by Gaines. I didn't really see anything that amounted to what I would call bullying.
Right.
I don't know where that I don't know where I didn't see any of that. And even if you look at this, even if you read her quote here, she said comments off because she already knew what would come by
Mhm.
making this. So she turned the comments off on the post. And then she said, to be expected when your star player is a boy. How that is bullying is beyond me. But that's the thing about it. Simone Biles is lockstep with her corporate persona. And when you are having to balance your corporate persona, you are going to have to parrot the corporate speech, which means anything that is laced in any sort of nuance, you have to categorize as whatever extreme adjective you can think of. She used the word bullying. Other people bring in the word hate or or uh homophobic or intolerant or
Trans.
transphobic, bigot or bigoted or whatever the case is.
Uh,
And the ironic thing about these polarizing conversations is it really exposes the fact that so long as a person believes that they're on the side of righteousness, they can be just as guilty of the same
right.
closed mindedness as the other side. But
Right.
because you're on the side of righteousness, your closed mindedness is permissible.
Correct.
So if you're on the extreme end of the pro LGBTQ argument, you can shame, blame, deflect, and ridicule somebody who has an opposing viewpoint to yours. But
Mm,
it's okay for you to do that because you're fighting on the side of righteousness.
correct.
And if I dare to bring up any nuance when it comes to the conversation, you can come at me with that same level of dogmatism, and I'm going to have to just relent and accept that as the environment because I'm apparently on the side of being wrong. So I feel like Simone Biles in this instance was playing into that dynamic, and it's very disappointing.
100%.
I find it very disappointing because she being someone who, by all appearances, is more akin to the traditional model for family values, I would think would be more respectful of someone with a different opinion than the extreme I'm going to follow it or not model. But I feel like even if she were someone who still has some of those traditional sensibilities, publicly, she'd have to lean into the hyper liberal stuff because of her stature as a mainstream sports personality. And when you're in the corporate space, you have to play into that. You can't bring in the nuance. So it's unfortunate. I see no fault with anything Riley Gaines said here. Even if I fundamentally disagree with her, which I don't, because of course I do. But even if I fundamentally disagree with Riley Gaines, I would still not perceive what she said to be a form of bullying.
No.
Like you're taking it too far with using these, and words do matter. So I don't know, man. Simone Biles is now on my sharp radar.
It's
You
crazy, man.
know, previously I said to myself, she seems like she's on the straight and narrow. She's proudly in her feminine energy, proudly married, proudly embracing traditional sensibilities. And even if she was an ally, see, you can do all of those things and still be an ally. That's the funny part. You
Right.
don't you don't have to go completely full board. You're a hater if you even bother to acknowledge any nuance.
A bully.
Yeah, that's crazy. But because she chose to go that route, I now have to be mindful of public statements that she makes or moves that she makes because she is, infringing on the territory of being someone who routinely engages in dangerous rhetoric. And her apology notwithstanding, I don't care about the fact that she apologized. I think the initial thing that she did is truly where she is at this moment in time.
Yep. And the sad part about all of it is she came out that loud, that wrong, but she thought that the streets was going to applaud her for this, and she thought that she was going to be um held up, and everybody like, yeah, you get her, Simone, you get her, Simone. And it was the complete opposite. I saw more backlash than I saw praise. I saw actual men of the community attacking Simone Biles about this, because there's men in the community that don't agree with this. So this is what I'm saying. This is such a small percentage of people that are actually pushing this.
Yeah.
And even people that are in the community themselves is like, nah, man, this ain't right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't agree with that. And some people was even where you was at, like, even if you disagree, for you to come at her like that is uncalled for. So yeah, man, the level of attacking her personally, saying just because you lost, or did she call her pathetic?
She called her a sore
A
loser.
sore loser. Like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing here? So athlete to athlete, that's just like, who put that battery in your back? Why did you come out saying this? Like, you're completely uneventful as a person. And so this is the hill you decide to get on? Like, it doesn't make sense. The timing of it, all of it, it's just like, why? And that's the part about this is like, as you mentioned, the corporate people or whoever it is, whoever these people are that's saying, Simone, I think it would be in your best interest. You
it
know what I'm saying? Whoever
seems
these people are.
it seems that way. It seems that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's no reason for her to say that. If she felt that way, say that behind closed doors. There's a ton of things that well-known athletes or celebrities or whoever posts all the time. You don't sit there and add them and go crazy. Y'all, you're in a small club. You know that as an athlete. So everybody gonna see this. You don't do that with nobody else, but you're doing it here about this. Why? just in time for the month too. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, she's just trying to galvanize. And that's the part about it that was mad corny to me. So yeah, man. So uh she lost a lot of points with that, with me personally, excuse me. And as I mentioned, man, while I was going down a rabbit hole when this thing first came out, and I'm watching all the videos from all people, you know what I'm saying, from super conservative man to liberal in the community, man. And a lot of people was like, hey, you, and because she body shamed her in the middle of all of this righteous talk. She attacked Riley Gaines talking about some pick on somebody your own size, which is ironically built like a man or looked like a man. So she even went into body shaming, which is a hell no in the liberal side of things. Like she don't even have the right playbook. That's the part about it, is like you're not even talking the talk right. So why are you talking like this? You should have asked Chat GPT, the same thing that generated that apology. You should have had that for the initial clapback. But no, she was just going off script and saying, this is what they sound like, right? No. So body shaming is a hell no. So you sitting there taking the moral high ground, but then body shame, it was ridiculous. So she lost a lot of points with a lot of people with this.
Yeah.
So she should have just stayed quiet and then be the Olympic hero that everybody just wrote her off to be. Now everybody's going to start putting her in the weirdo category. And don't be surprised if it gets weirder after this. I wouldn't be. So yeah, man, it's wild how this stuff works. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting here talking to somebody about this, and I'm like, damn, man, like Olympic athletes? I mean, yeah, I get it,
Yeah.
but Olympic athletes too? And it's like, yeah, but why not? Why not? As you mentioned, man, she is a household name now. So that got power and pull. So you need to talk that talk too. And I said, but why? And it's like, hey, man, that money be talking apparently. So I
It's
guess
just, yeah. It's just disturbing because um Olympic athletes, any athlete, whomever in the public space, in order for you, if you're going to speak out, it better be like this. And I don't like that polarized dynamic. You can't speak out and address the nuance or be in the other corner. You'll get roasted. So if you are going to speak, it better be on behalf of righteousness, which is akin to the way she talked.
right.
And it was very refreshing to see her get roasted for this because she deserved it. She deserved it. That was completely ridiculous. And we really got to tone this stuff down. It's getting out of hand. Nothing in life is black and white. Everything is somewhere in the middle, in the gray area. There's nuance to every conversation. The last thing that I'll talk about is this reminded me of DJ from Full House. I don't know if you remember us talking about this, but
Oh
a
yeah.
few years ago, DJ from Full House, her name is Candace Cameron. All she said was, I'm going to start. I'm going to partner with. I think the name of the station was Great American Family. So she used to make movies on, I think, the Hallmark Channel. I think so. She left the Hallmark Channel because and she went to start partnering to make content for another network called Great American Family because she wanted to produce content that was consistent with the values of heterosexual marriages and traditional families where the children, whatever, right? So the kids identify with the sex in which they're born. There's a mother and a father. There's
And
nothing
bigotry.
non-traditional. Yeah, there's nothing non-traditional. Like that's she didn't get into the weeds talking about how doing the opposite of that is wrong. She just said, I care about this and therefore I want to produce content like this. So I'm going to Great American Family because I want to be a part of producing content for Christian families, essentially, is what she said.
Mhm.
And there was a woman named Hillary Burton who came out of the woodwork to go on a whole press tour calling her a bigot for that. And I'm sitting around going, how is she a bigot by not even addressing the stuff you believe in. She addressed what she believes in,
Right.
which is I care about traditional family values. I want to produce content about that. Is it wrong for her to care about that and want to produce that kind of content? But in this particular climate where these corporate dollars are being funneled into that direction, if you publicly talk about that, which to me is the nuance, that to me is nuance. It means that it means that you are opening yourself up to being called a bigot because of that. And that to me is insane. That to me is insane. Like she didn't say I'm anti-LGBTQ. She didn't say I'm anti-trans. She didn't say I'm anti any of that stuff. And I mean, if you want to infer that she is like that based upon what her values are, okay, well, you can infer that about everybody walking on this earth because everybody has a set of values that they believe in. So you can make that inference literally about all 7 billion people walking on this earth. But if you choose to target somebody because of this particular value set, it just shows the kind of climate that we're in where you cannot address the nuance without being ridiculed for it.
Yep.
And that to me is insane. But
Yep.
that's what this reminded me of because all this girl said was that the other team won because their star player is a boy, which also happened to be true.
Right.
So I don't know where we're going with this stuff, but 1,000 lashes for Simone Biles on this. I'm not
100%.
rocking with her on this at all, and I hope she learned her lesson.
Yeah, man. I forgot to give her lashes. I agree, bro. 1,000 lashes for Simone Biles on this. But yeah, man, it's wild. But I do agree with the internet making her step off that. And there's a way to do this. Um, as crazy as it sounds, Simone Biles did have a lane to um out Riley Gaines and make her look like the crazy person. She did. But she stood a little bit too tall on that hill and was barking a little bit too loud and she didn't know how to do it. Which again speaks to my point of if you don't know how to do it, don't do it. You don't even know how to talk the talk. Because there's a way that she could have really made Riley Gaines look crazy for saying that. But she didn't. But as you mentioned, man, these extremist views, there's nothing really subtle about it. I mean, it is just in your face, just wow talk, and it's extreme. So, and there's no nuance. So, yeah, I guess she thought that's what the playbook called for, but it just wasn't. So, big ups to the internet. Big ups to the internet of bringing this back in. But yeah, man, I think she's on everybody's watch list now. I think she's on everybody's watch list because I saw black women, I saw everybody, the whole spectrum. Yeah, the whole spectrum was not feeling this. So I was surprised she even apologized too. Like I was even surprised she did that, but she did. But it was on deaf ears over here, man. On deaf
Yeah,
ears.
I don't care about the apology because to me she already did the thing that's the problem.
Yep.
So I don't care about the apology. Um, oh well, it is what it is with Simone, man. But I'm not with her on this. As I'm disappointed, and I fully expect to see her in the near future hosting her own show on the Bravo network
Yep.
because
Something like
that
that.
I think based on this, that's where she's gonna end up. She'll be on Bravo pretty soon.
Hey man, but the Piper, he always wants to get paid. So this was only one installment. So we're gonna see her make other payments later. You can
Yeah,
guarantee that.
yeah, and she'll be making them on Bravo.
Oh, it's a crazy world, bro. It's a crazy world, bro.